All right, today I want to do an overview of autism and talk about 3 foundations that are an absolute must to look at first before moving forward so that you can get a better understanding, a bird's eye view of the body, the diagnosis, and where it's coming from. I am Christina. I'm an inflammation mama. I am a physician assistant by training. I am a mom to 2 amazing little kids and 2 amazing little boys. And I am really just obsessed with science, and I have an affinity for children and doing everything that we possibly can to keep them happy, healthy, and safe, feeling good on the inside so that they can feel good on the outside, so that they can act well on the outside and live their very best life, whatever that looks like for them, just improving quality of life. Okay, so 3 foundations to look at are number 1, our cells, number 2, structural issues, and number 3, nervous system regulation. I do have a free guide that kind of does an overview of this. If you're on Instagram, you can just comment guide. If you are on TikTok, you have to go to my YouTube channel and click the link at the top of the page that has my free guide within that. Okay, so the 3 foundational pieces, the cells is number 1, our cells. Our cells make up our entire body, right? Inflamed cells are not going to do the job that they need to do. They're going to misfire, or they're going to be overcompensating and helping the body elsewhere instead of doing the job that they need to do. We're going to have weak mitochondria and their energy for our cells to do their job, right? So this ebb and flow of the entire body is really important. This kind of coincides with our immune system, but our cells need to be healthy. Our cells need to be in a place where they can do their job. They can then absorb the things that they need to absorb. They can fire correctly. They can make the connections that they need to make. And if the cells aren't doing this, then everything else that you're going to be doing is going to be a little bit of an uphill battle. The second thing is structure. This is also a really big thing. All 3 of these pieces are just as important as the next one. If you think about a Venn diagram, they're equally impactful. They all play off of each other, and they need to be looked at as the foundation of your child's health. So 2, structure, okay? Number 1, getting an EEG of the brain perhaps, and seeing that what are the physical deficiencies happening, or is there, God forbid, a mass in the brain, or connections on the right side of the brain or a loss of connections on the right side of the brain is really common in autism. Or airway is a huge one. Oh my goodness. If your child is an open mouth breather or has, a runny nose all the time, these are things that are really important to take a look at, because if your child is breathing with their mouth open, that means that, their maxilla is not wide enough, their airway is too small, they're not getting the oxygen that they need to the brain. Maybe your child has large tonsils or large adenoids, which is part of the lymph system when you're breathing with your mouth open. And there's so much more that comes to mouth breathing. The gut, do you structurally have a bacterial infection going on that needs to be removed? Or, a mold or a fungus that's overgrown and is literally causing the symptoms that you're seeing in your child. If you have a really big infection in the gut, it's happening in the brain. And you can imagine if you have an infection in your brain, you're going to see a whole bunch of different types of symptoms. So it's really important to look at the structure, because you could do all the things. You can have a clean lifestyle. You could take all the supplements. You could do all the things. But if you're still mouth breathing and you're still not getting enough oxygen to your brain, it's going to be difficult. And the third piece is nervous system regulation. Nervous system regulation is the thing that you can't really see, but so many kids with autism are living in fight or flight 100% of the time. And then we wonder why they can't focus, they can't sit still, they are completely overstimulated because the nervous system. And the nervous system also goes hand in hand with primitive reflexes. But I'm trying to stick to just these 3 things. And then I'll tell you a little bit about what to do in a minute. But the 3 things are our cells, structural impairments, and the nervous system regulation. Okay, so what the heck to do about that? Okay, so before you go crazy and start a whole bunch of supplements, although they're helpful and for the most part, and of course it's okay to be on your health journey and try these things, but instead of starting with supplements and detoxes and all these things, you want to make sure that their airway is good. You want to see an airway pediatric dentist, or if you're an adult, an airway dentist, so that they can fully look at all of the things that I was talking about. That right there might help ADHD behavior, infections, cavities for sure, all these things. You're knocking down 50 birds with one stone. So airway dentist. If we're looking at nervous system regulation, you can Google nervous system regulation exercises, breathing, there's so much that goes into each of these pieces, right? But nervous system regulation, being in the sun, getting activity, but seeing a network chiropractor is so incredible. They're going to work on the nervous system through not cracking and, breaking your kid's back or anything. It's very gentle, literally light touches. It maybe looks ridiculous and woo-woo to you, but it is very powerful, and kids respond very quickly to regulating the nervous system. So, and then our cells. So if any of these things are off, if structural is blocked, if our nervous system is in fight or flight 100% of the time, our cells are going to be inflamed. They're going to not be making the connections or firing or wiring the way that they need to be doing so. They're certainly not going to absorb any of the nutrients or the supplements or the things that you take in, and doing a detox is going to be really difficult because your body can't handle it. So the things that I'm talking about might cost a lot of money. Seeing a network chiropractor, seeing an airway dentist, seeing a functional medicine doctor to look at your gut. All of these things are very expensive, and they're often not covered by insurance. And there are also a lot of things you could do for free, like the lifestyle. You can at least start with food and eliminating toxins and getting sunlight and movement and trying to work on sleep, right? All of these things are so important that you could start right now. But if you really wanted to get into the nitty-gritty, I'm here to try to provide resources and at least guide you and get a little bit better of a bird's eye view of the body and how you can really help your child. So addressing those three things: the cells / the immune system, structural, which means brain, airway, gut, to summarize, and nervous system regulation, which is breathing, network chiropractic, primitive reflexes, exercises, seeing a therapist who knows how to do primitive reflexes, all of these things. And when you do this, or at least when you start learning about these things, the sooner you start learning about these things, it will have a domino effect on the rest of the body. So I hope this helps. Please, if you have any questions, I will try to answer them to the best of my ability. And that's all. I really hope it helps, and I'll see you later.